Hello, this is Abby from Abigail Cecile, and I'm going to show you how to creatively embellish a needlepoint ornament, taking your needlepoint ornament finishing to the next level. Before we begin on the step-by-step process, I want to share how I pick and choose embellishments. So you'll be choosing a ribbon and some decorative embellishments like fake flowers. Now, everyone has their own style, and style is a word that confused me for a long time. What I mean by style is that every individual person is going to gravitate towards certain colors, certain looks, and certain feels. Now, you might not be aware of your style, but you do have preferences. For instance, because I design a lot, I know that I absolutely love periwinkles, which are almost blue purples. But I don't like warmer purples. So like a royal purple, I just can't stand it. And that's just me. I don't know why I can't stand it, but I can't. I just never end up stitching or creating with that color. So that's an example of what my style is, periwinkle over royal purples. So when it comes to picking out embellishment, there's no right or wrong. Everyone is going to choose something different. So if you're intimidated by choosing ribbon and embellishments, then start from that place, knowing that what matters here is what you love and whether or not it makes you happy. So what I like to do is to pull together my stash of ribbon and embellishments, or if you don't have a stash, then do this in the craft store. This is going to sound a little cheesy, but sometimes I need to just take a deep breath and just let go of having to make it work. Having to find the perfect color, having to make this perfect, and just let myself start to play. So just grab colors of ribbons that you're drawn to, hold them up, and literally see if they make you happy. Now, if that's not enough to go on, you can also start by picking out the colors in the ornament itself. So I have periwinkles, I have a bright orange and a warm green, all within my ornament here. So these are great colors to start playing with because we know that they're going to look nice. Whether you like them or not, you're going to have to test and see. But it's a great place to start. Now, when I approached this ornament, I had a very clear image and vision of bright pastel flowers with a silky ribbon hanging on an Easter tree. And I thought that would be beautiful. It's something I could see on Instagram, hanging on an Easter tree in a Southern style home. And then I stopped and said, wait a second, what do I want to hang up in my home? So once I thought, what do I want to create, regardless of what I thought I should create or what would look nice on social media, I realized I wanted something a little bit more natural, something that actually sort of softened the bright orange and periwinkle and drew it into a more subtle, soft, and kind of feminine feel. So I grabbed this naturally plant-dyed ribbon, which is a color I just adore, and it's cotton. It's earthier than the silks I was originally envisioning. And you'll see that while it picks up on the warm green, this almost yellow green isn't in the ornament itself. But I tried it out and it made me happy. It just worked for me. It might not work for everyone. In fact, I'm sure it won't, but it really just gave me joy, as cheesy as it sounds. So at my local Hobby Lobby, I looked for natural looking flowers. There was a wide array of plastic and synthetic flowers, and while I think they would look really nice if I were going a different route, they just weren't doing it for me. So I looked for paper flowers, which have an earthier look in my opinion, or a more natural look. And I held these up to the ribbon and ornament, and again, just went with my gut. Even though there's no white in the ornament, I loved the way the white looked, and the yellow picked up on the ribbon as well. So I grabbed a few different options, tested them out. They were all sweet and kind of took the ornament in different directions, but I eventually settled on the white because they're feminine and a bit more delicate. And I'm really drawn to anything that's over the top feminine. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into choosing embellishments. Start with the colors in the ornament. It's a great starting place. But after that, you just have to play and go with your gut. When you hold something up to the ornament and for some reason that just makes you happy, then that's a great indication that, okay, this is working for me and I'm going to love using it and seeing it hanging in my space. And ultimately, that's what matters. Let's go over our tools and materials. So you will need a finished needlepoint ornament. This ornament was finished using the techniques that I teach in my online ornament finishing class. And while this is an oval, you simply use the same techniques that you use when finishing a classic round ornament. If, like me, you are finishing my carrot garden oval ornament, then you can find cording length and strand amount specifications in the accompanying stitch guide. You'll need paper or craft scissors, small embroidery scissors, your embellishments, ribbon and flowers, and I've already cut a few flowers off the bunch. You'll need a sharp needle, and this needle is a John James embroidery needle size 7. You'll need pins, a hot glue gun, and thread. Now, I suggest using invisible thread. I like to run it over some beeswax or thread conditioner before using so it's less slippery. I'll be using a neutral colored polyester thread in the video, and this is so that you can see what I'm doing. If you don't want to work with invisible thread, then try to match the thread color with the ribbon you are working with. But I do highly recommend using the invisible thread. Begin by playing with your flowers, arranging them until they look sweet and you are happy with them. So I'm starting with the center flower and placing the 2 buds on either side. Then I'm taking the 2 other flowers and tucking them behind and on either side. Test it out, and you can even tie a quick bow and hold it in front to see how everything looks. Grab your hot glue gun and, working from the center, place a dollop of glue at the base of the flower. Stick the first bud to the central flower. Notice that I'm gluing on the flowers where the glue will get covered by the ribbon. We don't want to see that glue. Continue gluing flower by flower until your posy is complete. Grab your thread and start wrapping it around the base of the flowers, over the top of the glue. This will help to hold the posy in place. Wrap it until it's secure, and then glue the thread end down. Then place some glue around the thread, not too much, but just to make sure everything is secure. Take your scissors and cut off the stems below the thread. Then, holding the posy securely so nothing shifts, glue the bottom and reinforce the sides, and hold until it's cool. Thread your needle and tie a knot at one end of the thread. You can double up your thread if you want, but it's not necessary. Position your posy so the bottom lines up with the ornament ledge or the base of the cording. Anchor the thread in the back of the cording loop. Don't worry about hiding the knot, the ribbon will cover all of these stitches. Tack the posy down to the loop, going back and forth a few times. So I'm pushing my needle through some glued areas, but you can go above the glue and just find a crack in between the flower stems to wiggle your needle through. Once the posy is tacked down, tie off your thread. Grab your ribbon and position it behind the loop with equal amounts of ribbon on each side. Tie the ribbon in a knot and then tie it in a bow. Don't worry about the bow loop sizes yet, just get that bow tied and then you can adjust afterwards. So it may take a couple tries. Sometimes the bow will tie beautifully the first time. Sometimes I have to adjust which side I'm looping over the other. It just depends on what the ribbon is doing that day. And then just fiddle with it until you're happy. Grab two pins, bring your ribbon end gently to one side, and don't pull it tight, but allow it to have a little bit of rise off of the ornament, and then pin it in place, and then repeat on the opposite side. Take your needle and thread, not the end of your thread, move the ribbon end out of the way and catch a bit of the surface of the ornament. Try to go through the canvas. You don't want to snag your stitching, especially if you have delicate stitching on the front. And all you're doing is tacking these ribbon ends down. You don't need to pull too tight. Come up through the ribbon where it's pinned and then back down. And I find it easiest to go under the cording to the back side of the ornament, then go back to gently tie off under the ribbon so all of my stitches are hidden. Trim your ribbon ends to the desired length. My bow is shifting a little bit, so I'm going to add a dollop of glue underneath the ribbon, attaching it to the posy, just so everything stays secure. And that looks darling. So we didn't glue anything to the ornament itself. So that means if you ever change your mind, you can grab a seam ripper and take out any tacking stitches, remove the embellishments, and add new embellishments if you want to. And that is how you creatively embellish a needlepoint ornament and take your ornament finishing to the next level. Thanks so much for joining me. If you loved this video, please do like it and share it with your stitching girlfriends. If you'd love more information on finishing, do take a peek at my online ornament finishing class and my special shapes ornament finishing class. And subscribe to my newsletter where I love to share all things needlepoint.